Life is made of experiences, conversations, and stories. You're not going to find these by laying back and letting Netflix, Hulu, and Disney program your reality.
You got to get out there and experience life for yourself. You got to seek those experiences, join those conversations, and listen to those stories that tell a vision and Black Mirror devices don't want you to seek.
Welcome to False Reality Check, a podcast where the only rule is you must be your real, authentic self.
I'm Buffalo.
And I'm Legs.
Join our conversations as we learn about and break down the lies we've been sold. Laugh, cry, and think with us and our friends as we discuss how we can liberate ourselves from this false reality, one conversation at a time. Hey.
Hey, friends.
Whoa. Good to see you.
Whoa,
oh my gosh, we got Chan.
Oh my god.
Introduce you to my brother.
Nice to meet you guys. Hello. I'm only here for a couple seconds before I go into work, but yeah, I just wanted to jump on and say hi. So hi.
For sure. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers. Is it bad luck to cheers with water?
No, you just gotta actually take a drink. I almost didn't.
You Mark
I feel like I
Zuckerberg.
haven't had water all day.
Welcome, everyone. We just wanted to get on here to hang out and shoot the shit. Really no agenda. I don't know where do you guys want to start? I mean, I just went out and grounded in the freaking cold.
Yeah, I did some laps. I just finished up a little mini qigong session, doing what I can to get myself all right after a client session. Not that the clients throw me off, but with energy healing work, most important thing is to clear everything in your field after you work with somebody, because you pick up, when you're going in and doing that type of psychic surgery, metaphorically, you're picking up all the stuff off of them that they're wanting to change. You're wading through a pond that has a lot of scum in it. Not that they're scummy, but you know what I mean? You're like cleaning out their shower. You got to make sure and get all that stuff off you.
You got to scrub in between the cracks and everything too.
Yeah. Yeah. Big time. I just figured we're going to hang out and have fun. I've got some time this afternoon. Seemed like a good idea to me. Thanks for the invite.
Sure. Coco the monkey. How do you cleanse yourself on a daily basis?
Besides showering.
Besides showering. Well, it's always raining here, so I don't even need to shower really. But really, I wake up every morning. I meditate. I do what I can to, get my energy going early in the morning before I have coffee. I haven't had coffee in like weeks, so the most I do is just tea, meditation, and yeah, just really, I try to sleep as much as I can because my work schedule is hectic. But yeah, I just, try to get as much energy as I can before starting my day off. Right. So yeah. Besides,
I got this chaga drink right here. It looks like coffee, but it's chaga mushroom powdered in hot water.
I've had chaga before. Yeah, it's good. I know this brand. I think it's a Buddha tea. I don't know if you've heard of them. I don't know how legit they are with their ingredients, but the last time I had it, it was like with some CBD product, and it was I think it was chaga also was inside, and I loved it. I can't find it again, which is weird. The last time I had it was I think it was like a couple months ago, but yeah, that's the only thing I could really like wake me up now is tea. And caffeine or coffee in general does nothing for me anymore, I feel. So it's weird.
Why is that?
The only thing that works.
You just got used to the caffeine.
Blew out your adrenals?
Or that.
Probably, yeah. And I'm known I hate coffee. Like growing up I hated coffee. So having it now it's so weird to me.
When I was a kid, I used to
So
always like get upset with
yeah.
my mom for her Folgers coffee breath. I called it dragon breath. I was like,
Oh,
no, mom, I don't want to hug or kiss. Your breath is like the worst, horrible thing. But that was because it was shitty coffee. I just didn't
Yeah.
know. Good coffee, man. Once I hit the college years, it was when I got into cannabis in my early 20s. Then that's when
Sorry,
coffee
my
became
connection
part
here
of
is
my
a little
life.
choppy, so it's I'm sorry if I can't hear you properly.
It's all good. Do you guys remember being in a classroom early in the morning and the teacher coming up to you with their dragon breath of death?
Yes.
I've had a few teachers in the past that have had like really bad coffee breath, but that came to my mind when you were talking about dragon breath, Chance.
It's like dead people
Brutal.
breath.
Yeah, man, that's always something that
I would
freaks
have
me out when I'm around
yeah.
like older people at the office I used to work at. You know, you go into someone's room and start talking to them, they're probably like 60 or something, and the smell coming off of them, I'm just like, I think you have cancer. It's not even funny. Like, how do you not notice this taste or whatever that's following you around?
That is true. Yeah, it's whatever you put in your body. I'm sure it gets out, you excrete it somehow through your pores. And if you're eating shit, you're gonna smell like shit. I know that for sure because that's happened to me before.
You eat like shit, you smell like shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I guess if you're eating like Hot Pockets all day, it can't be good for you.
Changing the way you eat is step one. I feel like that is so clutch. When I got into eating just organic food as much as humanly possible, and now that's like the default. That baseline and foundation builds everything else up too. It raises you up on every level. It's not a joke. I mean, the frankenfoods that pass for sustenance in the world right now are not doing people any favors.
No, you're right. They're not. And oh my gosh. So I know everyone's been getting sick with something these past few weeks.
Yeah, Chance, you just recovered.
I think they flipped a switch, dude. I don't think I'm really not sold on germ theory. I can't say I know, but I'm doing more looking into it. I think there's definitely something more on the electromagnetic spectrum going on. And that could explain why also, and that could explain why a lot, like you can see somebody and get the same thing off of them because you can catch energy, you can catch a vibe off of somebody. Like think of how whenever somebody comes into the room and they are really exciting to be around and everyone's all like, yeah, yeah. And it changes the whole feel for everybody in the room or vice versa. A party pooper shows up, a Debbie Downer, an energy vampire, and everybody's kind of in a lowered state after that. I think that illness can spread that way, as crazy as it sounds. That sounds pretty much the same as like a physical bug or something, but it's something to do with our electrical fields. There's definitely a transmission that can occur. I need to do a lot more research about it. I've been checking out Dr. Bear Lando Alpha Vedic podcast. They seem like the best resource for health things going right now.
I'm gonna have to check that out too. Yeah, I know I ate like crap like leading up to Christmas and a few days after Christmas.
And then for New Year's, we ate like crap too.
And it took me out. I got taken out for a day. I had this like massive headache.
Holidays, DAZE.
Yeah. I had a massive headache, just hangover in my body, was really pissed off, but I haven't gotten whatever is going
After
around
Christmas,
today.
like the day after Christmas, all of a sudden it just hit me. Like it felt as if a team of ninjas got shrunk down and put into my body and they just beat the shit out of all my organs.
Oh, fuck.
It was horrible. I got better in a couple of days, but it took 3 minutes just for me to say in a video on the Weaving Spiders Telegram channel earlier today all the different supplements and like healthy things I'm putting into my body. So it's quite a list. It'd be hard to even recite from memory. But I think the key is definitely vitamin C. That's the number one. Lots of vitamin C all the time. At least once a day, take a good dose of like absorbic acid and that's like the powdered form, right? I get it from Clive DeCarl. But if you've got some sort of cooties, your body can definitely use like regular dosages of vitamin C all throughout the day. Like once an hour, drink a glass of water with it in there. That would make a huge difference. Also, elderberry. I have the benefit of some close friends that actually have an elderberry farm near here. It grows really well in Missouri. So I've been doing a lot of that always. Usually just take that when I'm actually starting to get sniffly, but it's smart to do. It takes like literally like a thimbleful a day is all you need of the elderberry juice or syrup to get the maximum possible benefit of antioxidants and immune support. I don't want to say immune system because even that word is like time to get phased out. That entire idea. There is no machinery in your body called the immune system. It's just a catch-all term for your body's ability to heal itself, I guess, or to resist. I don't know. Health is like the biggest mystery, man. It all seems like an emotional vibe thing before anything else.
Yeah, for sure. And I should also say, just for everybody's sake, we're not doctors. And if you want to listen to a doctor, that's cool. But we're not doctors. Elderberry syrup is the shit.
Thank God we're not doctors. Those guys, I don't trust them at all.
I know. I don't even want to go to a doctor at all. Yeah, we have elderberry that grows like wild around here. So when the springtime comes and the berries are full, I told her we should take some baskets out and just go harvest some fresh elderberry, make our own syrup right from this land. I feel like it'll help. There's like a connection.
Oh yeah.
Heck yeah.
It's called elderberry for a reason. Make you live to an old age, maybe? I don't know.
That's a good point. Yeah, we're going to harvest a bunch of it. And then you recently got some grapeseed oil?
Grapefruit seed extract. Have you heard of that?
I've heard of it.
So I guess
grapefruit seed.
Yeah, grapefruit seed. They use the rinds and the peels and the seeds to extract it down and then make their own like extract that you only need like maybe 10 drops in some juice or water, drink it. And that's supposed to kind of run through your system and do its little antioxidant thing. I guess it's been really popular lately as of late. A lot of people are getting on that make your own hydroxychloroquine train where you basically just use the rinds and the peels of grapefruit and you boil it down with some like turmeric and other stuff. And it makes, I guess, homemade hydroxychloroquine that you can just drink. I'm not really sure if that's even something that people should be doing. I just know that like grapefruits, whenever I eat them.
Sounds better than going to a corporation and asking them for some chemical processed garbage.
Exactly. Yeah. And I always feel better with like having grapefruits. And whenever we got grapefruits in our farm box, when we were back in California and we get fruit and vegetables from the farm, those were the best grapefruits. Mm-hmm. And we would just juice them up and just drink the juice. I didn't even think about using the peels, but we did use the peels in the compost. That's why our compost was so fertile.
That's true. Spoonful of honey too. That does quite a thing. That helps.
Oh yeah.
Spoonful of honey before bed is the best time.
Why is that?
Well, that's actually where the phrase sweet dreams comes from.
Oh.
If you take a spoonful of honey, you want like raw, unfiltered honey is the best, but
yeah, that's what we got.
take a spoonful of that before you go to sleep and it enhances your dreams.
I'm going to do that tonight. Yeah. We took it.
And it curbs like the sleepy, like bedtime appetite. If you're the type of person that will wake up in the middle of the night and go attack the fridge at like 1 a.m. because it's, I guess, got the sugar and caloric amount condensed into a small spoonful that seems to like help curb appetite too, in my experience. So I have like a theory about it though, because it's golden. It's like sunlight condensed into, honey, right? So that is possibly the reason why you're getting an enhanced dream experience in terms of being more lucid in your dream and having better recall. It's because you're taking in something that represents light. You know, you're like boosting your inner light. And so you see better in the inner world while you're there. That's kind of my thoughts on it on a meta level.
That's
I
crazy.
freaking love that. Oh my God.
That goes along exactly with what Gabriel was talking about on your last episode with the monoatomic gold and mana. I mean, honey is like gold. That's so cool.
That is pretty cool. Yeah, and take a spoonful of honey before you're going to have a important conversation, and your words will come out sweet.
Yes. An old wives' tale thing that my mom passed.
Take a spoonful of honey every 30 minutes. Just always.
When you watch like a really shitty YouTube video and it like triggers you and you get pissed off, just spoonful of honey before you write that comment down that you want to put. Might screw you over in the end.
Yeah, real honey, we have that up here, and you first look at it and you're so used to what you see in the store. It's just this like pasteurized, liquidy
corn syrup
looking thing, and then
in the plastic bear.
Yeah, and you get actual
if it comes
real
in
honey.
a bear, then you probably don't want it.
No, you get real honey, and it almost looks like wax.
It is, yeah. It's like wax.
I know it's like beeswax.
Yeah,
almost, but it's
not all runny and it's more solid.
Yeah, it is. And
now that it's cold right here, it's like frozen solid.
So. Yeah, I can't go back to store-bought honey. Like unpasteurized honey is the best. It really is, and you can taste just the flowers that bee went to, or the bees went to, and it's local here. The honey we got is local honey, so we're getting a little taste of this land, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, this land really has so much going on, and something I want to learn about is harvesting wild mushrooms. When the snow melts, they tend to come out. And last time we came up here in the summer, it seemed like we saw some wild mushrooms like turkey tail and things growing on trees. But if that's something that like really interests people, I think harvesting your food in the wild would be good too. Have you done that, Chance, where you've just like gone out and like harvested wild mushrooms, eat them, or even like hunted something?
I have had wild harvested mushrooms before. The best is, in my opinion, chicken of the woods. If you can find that, it's really good. But I'm not well trained on, foraging. That'd be a cool thing to learn. There's infinite things to learn, but not infinite time in a day. Yeah. Funny that you brought up mushrooms though, because I was just thinking, since we were discussing honey, one of our mutual friends, who I won't name because of what it is, just recently sent me a jar of honey blended with Cubensis psilocybin mushrooms.
Ooh.
And yeah, so it's like a jar of honey with like half an ounce of mushrooms blended into it. So you take like a dot, like the back of a pencil, just barely any to get. I haven't tried it yet. I'm a little scared because of how strong it's supposed to be. But maybe I should have taken a little dabble before this conversation, get myself silly and have some fun. It'll be like, I'll literally have it for life because honey doesn't go bad.
Exactly.
And so I'll be able to just at any time I want to get into the mushroom headspace, it's there for me now. Thank you so much, friend who sent it to me. I'll have to tell you off air who it was.
For sure. Yeah. We something that I looked into when we were tripping back in the day a lot. And so when we prepare our batch to consume, honey is involved, but we make a tea. And we actually extract it with an acid. So we use lemon, and then we basically extract everything we can from there and make like a honey lemon kind of tea with ginger, kind of brings it all around. And it tastes great, and it's very effective.
Yeah, it hits you pretty quick when you have it as a tea. So
I've been doing lately just hot water with a lemon squeezed into it and honey mixed in. Just lemon, honey. I guess you would call that a tea, sort of.
Yeah, that is a tea.
But ginger is clutch. Whenever I had the attack of the ninjas against my organs, the thing that really helped with the feeling of discomfort from all that inflammation was ginger, turmeric, oregano oil blended in with cayenne pepper. and you just like do a shot glass amount of it, and I'd be set for like at least 6 hours. My pain issues got better. I did a lot of that.
Whoa, yeah, turmeric's amazing for inflammation, and oregano oil too. When I was recovering from, I had like some kind of like weird infection in my intestines. I had to go to the hospital. This
Damn.
was this was a while ago, but one of the things that helped with the recovery is oregano oil. I took like supplements of oregano oil because that's like an anti-parasitic. It just cleans you out completely. So that's pretty interesting that like you use that to battle your ninjas.
Yeah, it worked. It was one of a million things that I was doing, but that one for sure, I could tell when I needed more of it, because the ninjas would get angry. They go on another rampage.
Is your dad doing better?
Oh man, that's such a crazy story. Yes, but he ended up having to go to the hospital.
Oh no.
Yeah, I mean, I would say nobody has to go to the hospital generally, but he sort of let himself go too far. He wasn't drinking enough water, wasn't eating food because he just felt bad, and he like felt ill and he was tired. So all he would do for several days, like my mom had the same thing going on and she was better already by the time that he was deteriorating a lot. And all he wanted to drink was chocolate milk. And I'm sure it was not organic chocolate milk or anything. So that was making him sick to his stomach, and he didn't want to eat anything else. So it was kind of a vicious cycle. He made himself more nauseous with drinking the wrong thing, which is chocolate milk, and not getting any vitamin C or any nutrients at all for several days. And so the situation got worse, and he they took him to the emergency room. My mom did, I guess. And of course, the hospitals won't let people even visit you right now. The worst part about it was to even get into a room, he had to spend like 5 hours in the waiting room of the ER just by himself, and they wouldn't even give him like a drink of water. My mom had to beg somebody on the phone for like 30 minutes to get them to give him even some kind of a drink of water.
What
Pretty crazy.
So
But the reason they took him to the hospital was because his oxygen levels got low. Basically, all the like phlegm and mucus was filling up his lungs, and they call that pneumonia, but they call everything pneumonia at the hospital. Anyway, after they put him on some oxygen, and I think gave him an IV for hydration because he's getting so hydrated or dehydrated, that seemed to help. And he's hopefully coming home tomorrow. But it sucks to have a parent in the hospital and you're not even allowed. Security will bounce you from the premises if you try to go in.
Yeah. I went through I went through something similar. Oh my gosh, was it a year ago?
Yeah.
With my mom. She had, long story short, it turned out to be a UTI that just got out of control. But just the whole experience in the waiting room, and we couldn't go back to see her in her room when they finally put her in there. She had to stay there alone, and it sucked. And I remember being in the waiting room with no mask, just sitting there, and the couple of nurses came up and harassed me and were like, "Here, take one of our masks, you're going to get sick." And I'm like, "I'm fine. I'm good. I don't need it."
What I think is crazy is that so much of what is actually helpful that the hospital can do for you, we ought to just know how to do for ourselves. It's not that complicated a technology.
Exactly.
To get a tank of oxygen and put an oxygen breathing mask over someone's face, or that should be, you should be able to get that at Walmart or something. That should not be that hard to acquire. Shouldn't need to go to the hospital for that. And the same with IVs. Seems like that would be a skill that could be taught to you in public education, if public education was actually worth a damn or something. I mean, why do we need to go to these gatekeepers for the basics, and then while you're there, they make all these kind of crazy offers like, hey, we'll just load you up with antibiotics and shit like that, when all that's really needed is the basics. Oxygen and hydration is needing stabilized, and maybe the body will start to do what it needs to do on its own. But they don't even offer like you have to ask them for vitamin C. You know, at the hospital, you have to request that special. It's not an automatic given that you would be provided with vitamin C while you're there. And, you know, the hospital food is basically the same as cafeteria food, basically the same as prison food. It's all supplied by the same suppliers and supply chain. It's amazing what humanity has put up with on that front, just in order to give up their personal responsibility for their health and feel safe and protected that can be taken care of by somebody else. We've given up so much for that false sense of security.
No, it's true.
For sure. Yeah. You didn't even tell them the best part. The reason why she let her UTI go so long was because of the health system itself. Every time she went in, she was complaining of fever and pain, and they kept trying to test her for COVID. And she even got tested further in the hospital. 7 tests later, they realized it's not COVID, it's something else. And it wasn't until we took her to the emergency room that they realized it was a UTI that they caused, by the way. And that was Kaiser Permanente. So thank you, Kaiser Permanente, for being a terrible healthcare provider.
Yeah, it was a disaster. All these tests that came out negative, and they kept saying, go get tested, go get tested. A doctor wouldn't even lay hands on her just to feel her and see how she's doing.
No, he hid behind glass.
Yeah, he was just behind glass and like, go get tested. It was insane, but she's complete 180. She's doing better. But yeah, it's a trip how we've put so much trust into this system, and it really isn't there to take care of us at all. I mean, major surgery and stuff I can understand, but if we had the tools, even in public school, if we were taught how to take care of ourselves and properly and what's good to eat, we wouldn't have to depend on this bogus health system, you know?
Yeah. I think it's a big sacrifice ritual. And crazy as that sounds, I think that, oh man, I have like extreme maybe views about it. I realize that the people that work there in those places have no idea that what I'm going to describe could be going on. However, I think that it's like a factory for recruiting lost souls into demonic contracts, in the sense that when somebody comes out of their body in the hospital, you know, as in they're dying or they die, I honestly think that there's beings just ready in the wings, non-physical entities that will then recruit you to do their bidding for the exchange and illusion of security or safety. Because people die, they're in a lot of fear. They have a lot of human beings don't have any kind of spiritual connection that's authentic. Then, like, okay, so where I'm coming from with this is I've done a lot of looking into the idea of demonic attachment, demonic possession, and hypnotherapists that have done work trying to communicate with people's attachments, or somehow see, you know, get a lens behind the veil as to what's going on there. And this is not coming from any one source, but kind of condensing a lot of my research into these topics into one overarching idea. But what seems to be happening is that there's a hierarchy. Holy shit, it's Mitch. Okay, oh. Mitch will know what's up.
Mitch.
I thought there was a button that said that you had to add me. Sorry, I didn't mean to just.
Oh, he was just quick on the draw.
Added you
right
really
in
quick.
Sorry about that. Chance, please go on.
Okay, so starting like back at the top a little bit, Mitch, I'm talking about what I think goes on in hospitals. Okay.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, and I've been following. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. So
yeah, don't repeat on my part.
I think that you know, as above, so below. The physical reflects the spiritual, and that there's a hierarchy of sorcerer style disembodied entities, maybe even human beings that just exist on the wave side of the wave particle duality now, and they recruit people after they die. They basically give you this choice, like this black robe figure shows up and is like, hey, if you go into the light, then you're going to cease to exist, or you're going to be punished for your sins, or whatever thing they can say that will prey on the fears of the person who's just confused and left their body. And the offer is made that if you work for us or our master, which is like the Satan demiurge concept or whatever, but maybe not sold that way to the confused being, then you'll be saved from death, or we'll put you back in your body, or you'll get a new body, or you won't be, dissolved into nothingness. Whatever the case may be, I think it's probably the offer is made differently to different people. But this is what hospitals are there for, in my opinion, on the spiritual level, is to be like a one-stop shop for the creation of lost souls or earthbound spirits who then get assigned to go and jump in other people's bodies and do the whole loose harvesting thing, or convince them to, of negative perspectives, or even make them suicidal. And it's a demonic hierarchy where even I think on a one level in the astral dimension, they've even got, I've heard of this anyway from people that do astral traveling, remote viewing, or have spoken with entities that are attached to people through hypnosis, that these beings have actually got like call centers, if you will. Like there's literally training grounds, like buildings, astral world buildings, where the freshly deceased human souls are trained on how to go and like cause problems and negative emotions in other human beings to continue perpetuating this whole. It's basically like Demon Corp. It's like you have a corporate. It's like after you die and you get out of your corporate slavery here on this realm, there's just another level of corporate slavery offered to you on the spiritual plane, and beings that are susceptible to fear and manipulation will take that offer. And sounds kind of doom and gloom, but also it's just good to know about this, because even beings that might be hanging around with us or in us that have taken this type of offer can hear us talking about it now, and we can let them know that none of that is true, and it's safe to go back to the light, that you won't cease to exist. It's actually resisting the light that keeps you from existing, keeps you from getting into a new body, keeps you from returning to the natural flow of nature. Probably didn't explain that very well. It's some convoluted idea in some ways, but it makes sense in the as above, so below to me, that this exact structure that we're battling right now of corporate hierarchies and, the dead being enslaved metaphorically here would definitely apply to the spiritual or astral dimension. And there's like parasite factories out there. What do you think, Mitch?
Wow.
You probably got extreme
Like
ideas too.
Beetlejuice.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah. I had a friend who just lost an uncle, actually, and we've been talking about it a little bit this week. He had a timeline. He was diagnosed with some things, and so they knew that the day was coming. And she was talking to me about how they've been talking about the light and going to the light. And I've wondered for a long time about what the light is. I have my own beliefs that would probably irritate a lot of people, so I'll keep certain things to myself. But
no, I want to know.
I want to know.
Yeah, I want to know.
All right. Well,
I'm irritated by you, Mitch.
I mean, I would just say, like, I tell people they should go read the book "Who Built the Moon" by, I think, is it Christopher Knight. I don't follow the same thing when it comes, because I'm all about the crystals. Everybody knows, like, with the Orgonite stuff. But I wonder if the light that's at the end of the tunnel is really the soul cycle trap. And anyway, we were talking, my friend and I, and she's pretty convinced that she helped him to escape. And she knows, like, when she can sense other family members who, have chosen to leave a foot in the door so that they can keep, sending messages back or whatever. I mean, I know a lot of people, they'll either think like, oh, that's batshit, or yes, that's exactly what I thought. But it's, I don't know. It's interesting that you guys are talking about that, because this subject came up with somebody, and I think he just passed away yesterday. And so it's interesting. Like, it's something I'm kind of on the lookout for now with people in my life who pass. And I actually made an agreement with my significant other. We have a dead firm agreement that when the time comes, we both know that there's no way on God's green earth, there's no exception, there's no gimmick, no gotcha, no anything that we would never ask the person to like come back and help, come back and save, come back and like such and such needs you, this person, this, like, or the other person, I don't want to say their name, but it's like, to them, they'd be like, oh, Mitch needs you to come back. It's like, I would never do that to you. I would never do that to you. And I don't actually, for me, my personal belief is I don't think that a God that loves me would ever ask me to come back to this realm for any reason, as long as I did the work I was supposed to, because everyone is really on their own. It doesn't matter what kind of connection you have with other people. It's like everyone, you're responsible for yourself. It's your soul, it's your energy, it's your consciousness, even if it's collective and connected. So it's like we're mentally preparing ourselves for, if hopefully we can carry that information with us whenever the time comes, that nobody who truly cares about the truth would ever ask you to come back to this place. That's my opinion on that. And so I hope to stick to my guns. That's, anyway, I'm rambling.
You mean stick to your loose cannons?
Stick to my loose cannons. Yeah, I had to change the name because I'm like, yeah, he's gonna run his mouth and swear and it's whatever. Like,
I haven't heard any swears yet.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to be better. It's 2022, so
new year, new you.
Absolutely, yeah. Which I'm loving the 6 year, by the way. I it's like my new favorite number. So anyway, but in regards to the light stuff, I wonder if we're taught darkness is a bad thing. And, I think evil is a bad thing. I think negativity is a bad thing. I think we can easily identify at this point what is not resonating with us with the truth. And I think truth is the ultimate definition of love. And so, because the truth is uncomfortable, but if it's, if it loves you, it will tell you what you don't want to hear too. So, yeah, anything pertaining to the light, it's like, I don't know, we're almost taught like to go to the light. They say go to the light. And I wonder, figuratively, if we're not supposed to go to the physical light, but it's like an allegory, like everything else. So I don't know, but it's just interesting that my friend is going through this with a family member, and I trust her more than most people when it comes to these types of topics. I'm like, I think she's onto something, and she knows what she's doing and helping family members detach. And it's just made me think more seriously about it with the people I love. Like, if I ever died, when I told my counterpart, if anyone ever finds me dead, please take me somewhere and put me somewhere for at least like 72 hours. I want to be completely removed. Don't let anyone come near me. Don't let the hospitals come near me. Because I'm sure they do voodoo and whatever weird bullshit. They put those towers on the tops of the cancer ward for a reason. I think that the frequencies are involved with that. Anything's possible. So it's just the idea that like I want to be completely removed, and I really hope that I'm sure I'm not the only one who thinks they don't want to come back to this particular situation. Am I wrong?
No, call me crazy, but I like it here. Actually
awesome.
I'm into it. Yeah.
Well, you can have my ticket. If I get another ticket, you're welcome to have mine. So
I like life. I think life's really cool. Also, I am positive that free will exists wherever you're at. And if you know that you always have free will choice, then even if you go into the tunnel of light and you get there and like the beings are actually somehow, aliens or something, and they're trying to trick you into some energy harvesting trap, even though you've already gone through the tunnel and you're looking at them, that doesn't mean that they got you. You always have free will. That's the nature of existence. So I think that, whether you choose to go into the light or you want to go into the darkest part of yourself, the great thing about the source is that it's in everything, and it's dark and light. So you could make either choice and then even change your choice if you want to. But that I would defend and maintain that this realm isn't that bad. It's just that human beings have got really confused about the purpose of life, which in my humble opinion, the meaning of life is life. The meaning of existence is existing. And the other option would be non-existence. And the reason why this place maybe would seem like a trap or you wouldn't want to come back here is because of how limited existence feels for people in this realm right now as they are. But it's not nearly as limited as we believe. We have the inner world is still available to us and always has been. It's just we spend so much time with the externalized hierarchy of screens and of internet and of escapism into digital artificial constructs that we've really gotten rusty on how to do inner journey work and inner visionary work at that place where we're truly limitless and infinite, and even the confines of a physical body don't really apply in the psychic realms. And we can go there, we still have that ability. And I think coming back here in another go round wouldn't be that bad unless you just did the same thing over and over again and stayed in the same level of limitation. But if your return to life or to existence was to continue on the path of expansion and of enhancing and nurturing your infinite possibilities and potentials, then to me, that's not limiting at all. And I'll come back here over and over again and keep expanding and keep finding new ways of expressing life and embodying the creative force that is the dynamic intelligence of the cosmos. Because right now, the biggest limitation is simply that we get caught into rhythms and time loops where we do the same thing every day and we don't learn anything new and we just are on repeat. And that is very, very limiting. But when you think about all the things you might like to learn how to do, all the things you might like to create in a life, you never fit it all into one go. And that stuff is where the real juice is of existence, is the learning, the expanding, the creating. So if we are nurturing and cultivating that aspect of selfhood and existence, I don't see why there would be any harm in playing this game forever, because even the even when you really look at the technology of our bodies before all the damage that's done to ourselves by our bad habits and by our misalignment with nature, the body itself is like the ultimate vehicle, the ultimate technology. We've really got way more to learn than we've so far even like we scratched the surface like 1% of the potential of what we could do here. So to look at this isn't to like poo-poo your idea, Mitch, at all, but because a lot of people see that way, and that's fine. But to consider that you wouldn't want to come back here when we've only experienced a fraction of a percent of our potential in this place and in these styles of bodies and in this realm, to me, it's like, well, what are we missing out on if we decide not to keep existing? And on the wave side of the wave particle duality, there's a whole lot there too. It's like the limitless, infinite potential, all things at once, probably existing at once, like your whole idea of who you are in your mind consciously all at once. That would be a cool place to be, but there's no story there. So I like stories. I like making things, and I can only learn so far in 32 years. I've only learned a couple of instruments, for example. I still have never tried oil painting. I'd like to do that. There's a million things to learn, a million ways to create, and more than a million, because you can start combining those mediums and modalities. And what life has become about is rat races and hamster wheels. And for sure, we want to get off of those. That's the false reality that we would like to escape from, no doubt. But the actual truth of our potential as creators is so much vaster than what we really allow ourselves to believe or accept. And that is where the gravy's at. And I'll come back over and over again to keep exploring different ways to express.
That is well said, Chance. Really beautiful. I'm on your side with, this realm has its flaws.
We have sides? Oh no, Mitch, are we on opposite sides?
No sides, no sides.
There's no sides.
I'm joking.
No sides. But no, this place is beautiful. This realm is magic. And when you understand how to tap into that and how you can manipulate it and better yourself and grow in this realm, it makes things even more beautiful. And your connection to this place even better. And I mean, Mitch, just playing with the power wand that you sent us, that
I love
like
my power wands
I
too.
completely just opened my eyes to just the magic of this place. And meditating, being in nature, it's beautiful. And I wish people could escape those hamster wheels and come to that realization. But everyone's on their own journey. They'll get there for sure.
Yeah. I kind of half subscribe to Mitch's ideal, and we have between the two of us, we have talked about, should we go into the light, should we not go into the light? Because this is something, I consider this woman my soulmate. I want to go where she goes. So wherever we end up, I'd like to be together. And something that I do want to bring up, and that Chance, I don't know if you kind of considered this, but when you were bringing up how beautiful this realm is, I agree with you 100%. I have a foot in that kind of belief too, but I don't know if it's enough of a foot to where I'd want to come back myself. Something that I've learned from my like Mormon past in the church, when I was in the church, is the theory of eternal progression. So do you believe that even outside of this meat body and outside of this natural realm, that you can eternally progress? Because in some faiths you can actually become and I don't want to put words, I'm a bad Mormon, so don't nobody like take this as like a sell
That
of the
should have been
Mormon
your name. It
church.
should be Legs and
Yeah.
Bad Mormon.
but I'm like, I think they believe that like when you reach the highest level of heaven, you become like God and can create a whole realm for yourself. And then you might even have to sacrifice yourself, like they believe the Christian, religion, that Jesus is God in flesh and he sacrificed himself to take all the sins of the world. But do you believe that? Because to me, the bread and the butter is here, but there's so much more than bread and butter that I want to know, that I don't think I can know in this meat suit, that I think I can only know as an incorporeal force energy out there that has no attachment to body.
Well, the thing is, I'm pretty sure that you can do that while you still have a body. I think you can. I've been out of my body, and I've had experiences in deep meditation in the astral where those type of epiphanies that you're describing come to me, and it's like I realize the answers to questions that I've wondered my whole life, and then I come back to my body and I'm like, what was I thinking about? But while I was in the meditation space, like all of that stuff is available. So I know that it's within, and that it'll even unpack itself throughout the course of my life as needed. So the idea that there's eternal progression, I'm with you on that. I think we can progress eternally in whatever form we choose to be in. But I also think that you have the option to regress too. I think that we're on a big chutes and ladders board, infinite stairs and infinite slides. You can go either direction if you want. So it's not a guaranteed that you'll be infinitely progressing. Now, as far as like the Mormon idea of like becoming a creator god and, your own designer realm, I think we may be doing that right now. And we just forgot we we're doing it personally.
I think some people, it gets a little mucked up, where I'm sure we've all heard of like star seeds and people that are here on a path, a mission, everyone, I think a lot of people are on the I'm not saying I subscribe. I'm not discrediting it either. Everyone has their purpose. Everyone is here for a reason, whatever that reason is. There's endless possibilities of what those reasons are. Some people, or some human beings, souls, whatever you want to call it, their path might include returning to learn certain things or do certain things. Some people feel like, oh, I don't belong here. Some people think, oh, this is my first go around. Some people say, I've been here forever. Some people are here to save the world or to do this or to teach someone, or maybe even some people are here to get other people out. I actually take that one into consideration too. And I know a lot of people don't care for that one as much, but for whatever reasons, I've sat through coursework with people just out of dabbling in my own, just out of curiosity. I wanted to go to like an Akashic record keeper, and I've gone and had my charts read and I've done everything that a lot of people have done. and been told, well, you're here for this, or you're doing this, and like these people left you, you know, like, oh, you're here, I'm an Iranian and I don't get along with people from Atlantia, apparently, or Atlantis. I've been here before working with energy devices to save the world, and it apparently turned to shit, and I had to leave, and I wasn't happy, and I hated humans because I was like, fuck
That
these
sounds
people.
right.
I'm just saying. So it was like, I took it into consideration. I'm not saying that I completely agree with that. I think sometimes it's very simplified, and some people say and think what they want to think, because I think some people like to spiritually bypass deeper traumas they have. So, you know, everybody always comes back as Mahatma Gandhi, but they don't come back as like Roy from down the block. You know, it's like they always pick somebody, you know, and so, but some people, maybe they are incarnated from somebody important.
Everybody
I don't know.
was like a king of ancient Egypt or something.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
or
I'm
a
here
temple
for whatever.
prostitute. I hear that one a lot.
Exactly. So it's one of those things.
Want the sexy life.
Yeah. So you take it into consideration. I think some people, they're going to be destined that, like, you know, when they go, it's like sayonara, and they're out. They're to the next thing. I don't think it's the end of anything. And that doesn't mean one person or one thought, one energy, one consciousness, one soul is better than another. I think it's just, for whatever reason, they were marked for that path of whatever the path is. Some people will come, some will go, some will cycle, some will save others from doing this, or come back to help others do this. And so, yeah, I mean, because look at what I do for a living. I think this planet is incredibly beautiful. It's obviously worth driving myself bonkers financially, spiritually, energetically. I'm like freaking drained. And I know this is my life path to do this. You know, it's like, I don't actually hate humans. I clearly love them. And so, you know, I understand the beauty in all of this stuff, but I do wonder every single day, especially now, every time the Gregorian BS turns over again. And I had a very deep conversation with a friend last week where we were talking about elephants in the room, and it was like, it messed with my mind, because I thought, wow, I'm so used to talking about this love and light and high vibes and save the world and people waking up and consciousness and everything. But then I'm also just kind of like, good Lord, what do they have planned for us next? What's the possibilities? What's coming? What's with this? What challenges are we going to face? Because it's not going to be comfortable every day for the rest of our lives. And not that it has to be, but I'm just saying, like, you know, sometimes you kind of tell yourself, you look in the mirror and you're like, good God, give me a break. Like, can I just have like a day where like I don't wake up in the morning?
You got to give it to yourself, buddy.
Well,
You're
I
taking
understand.
too
No,
much
no,
on with the feeling of responsibility, maybe.
well, what I'm saying is, I think that, and this kind of actually, you know what, I'll answer this with a comment I hear a lot. You know, people tell me all the time, they're like, hey, Mitch, you know, we can clear chemtrails with our mind. And I respond, yes, we sure can. However, us as humans,
Please
where
do
we
that
are,
more. Will you please do
well,
more
I
of it?
kind of want to respond to them and be like, well, you know what? There's a couple of problems in the world. Maybe you should get off your butt and go do it then. Like, what are you talking to me for? But we as humans are not, I don't think we are there yet on the, we're getting there. We're obviously going in the right direction. But as far as being this top-notch spiritualistic representation of what it really means to be human, there's still so much to learn. There's still so much to do. And so as the world, the problems of the world progress, and as the agendas progress, it's like it's like we're always trained for this stuff, and it gets more and more difficult, but then we get more and more trained along the way. When this all started, this COVID, the pandemic started, I'm sure at this point, everybody who's anybody has been kicked out of somewhere, or at least accosted by like a psychopath because of not doing this or not doing that. And you're like sticking to your guns.
Super chill here.
Well,
I'm
lucky. But there's a lot of people. First time I ever got kicked out of somewhere, you know, it was kind of a traumatic experience. Now I'd be like, whatever. I've heard worse from better. And so it's like they can do what they want. You get trained as you go along. What I'm saying is, like, it's getting rocky, and it's not always sunshine, rainbows, and unicorns. And so it doesn't mean the world's ugly. It just means that, you know, I guess what I'm just saying is not everyone's going to have the same path. And I think maybe some people will get to a point where it's like they know, like, okay, this is my last round. Like whatever it is I was supposed to do here, I'm gonna see myself out the door, and go learn something somewhere else. Not necessarily stop learning. Does that make sense? I don't know anything about the afterlife, but what I do know in my heart is that I know that this is not all there is. And sometimes I wonder too, as beautiful as the world can be, sometimes I wonder, when I look at the parasites and I say, I don't consent to you being here. I don't believe in this. I don't believe in that. It crosses my mind every once in a while. What if I don't belong here? What if I invaded their turf and they're like, get the hell out? What if I'm the one who's the odd man out? And I don't mean that in a dark way, but I just mean like I came here to mess up their thing. And it's really, what if it's just a playground to learn to be human and to do all of this stuff? But maybe it's not supposed to be turned into like the Garden of Eden. If that's really, really simplistically and unfair. That's an unfair analogy. It's so simplistic. But if you can kind of see what I'm getting at, that maybe I'm invading somebody else's turf and maybe I'm the odd man out. It's crossed my mind. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, I'm going to make some responses unless Legs and Buffalo have something.
Go for it, Chance.
Okay. So let's start with the idea of not wanting to get separated from your soulmate, for example. You know, the idea of like, well, if we're going to go into the light or not go into the light, let's make the same choice, that type of idea. Here's what I've come to understand from energy practices, energy healing, these things, you know, sound healing, is that life force energy itself is the thing about reality that's one. So the divine spark or the current of self-existing eternal life energy that is within and permeating all things and creates all things, that is the aspect of reality that is one. It's pleroma, it's the totality, it's indivisible. In truth, it's inseparable. There is no separation. So that force or that energy is synonymous with truth because it's the thing, or it's the aspect of existence that exists. It has no birth or death, no beginning or end. It simply always is and always will be. Existence itself is life force energy. So what that means is no matter where you go or what perspective you take or what lessons you're trying to learn or what configuration of a body you're in, the truth will always be present. What's true will always exist. So if there's a true connection between two souls that are what you call soulmates, or they have made the agreement that they want to stay together, and that's a true and honorable agreement, then it cannot be violated. It's an aspect of free will that will always be honored. And no matter where, so the simple way of understanding this is no matter where you go, no matter how you ascend or descend, if there's something true, that truth will exist wherever it is that you're at. So you can't be separated from truth. So there's nothing to fear in terms of getting lost or separated from love, because love is also synonymous with this eternal self-existing life force energy. And also when it comes to this idea of the realm we're in being limited here, you know, I can't say for sure that I know exactly what part of the spectrum between heaven and earth we exist on. It's said by like Taoist masters and you know, Qigong experts throughout ages past that we're the bridge between heaven and earth, that this realm is the middle land or the Midgard between the above and the below. But, you know, it could be that we're actually a little bit off balance from the middle. Maybe we are a little bit sunk into the below side or the hell side or the physicality material side, with a skew away from the spiritual, from the all-knowing, from the consciousness of heaven energy. Maybe. But all that isn't a place, it's a perspective. I think that when we talk about not wanting to come back to here, well, there isn't really a here anyway. There is the idea of where it is that you exist in your mind, that the all is mind. This eternal, all-pervasive, inseparable life force energy is also mind. So your body, the environment you're in, the home that you live in, all of these are in your mind. Your mind is not in a container, in a house, in a city, in a state, in a country. All of those elements are actually in the mind, in your mind. So there's really nowhere to go, in my opinion. There's nowhere but here. Heaven isn't separate from here. Hell isn't separate from here. The above and the below are aspects of mind that are within the mind that we're in at all times. And so I think the best option or the best case scenario isn't really that you ascend and stop and don't come back to here, because there's only mind. Like what I would be thinking if you wanted to not be quote unquote here would be that you didn't want to mind anymore. You didn't want that duality of subject object perceptivity. And a better goal, maybe this is just speculation, but a better goal would be to expand the bandwidth that we're able to perceive within the mind, so that we can experience more of the above and the below simultaneously and see a bigger picture of what the place is in our mind that we're currently residing at, to have a better picture of the truth of how our thoughts create our reality, of how our beliefs generate the configurations and the boundaries and the experiences that the world bring to us. And so whenever we feel like run down, we feel exhausted by this world, we feel like it's too much work to do what needs to be done, to put everything right and set it all back in its proper place, the answer is that we don't need a break. We don't need the world to give us a break or give us more time. We simply just need to change our relationship to our boundaries with the world and with time. You know, if you want more time, then take more time. It's tricky because we're taught to live with the outside world dictating our inner world. What happens out here is what decides whether or not I feel good in here. But you can switch that. That's the really the inversion that controller classes have cast onto us as a spell, is the belief that outer world can and should dictate inner world. But actually, inner world can always be where you lead from. You can always lean more on the foot that's inner world. And you guys are probably experiencing this right now, having just moved out of California. Now you're in Idaho. The pace of life is probably a lot different. You're not going to those old jobs anymore. And you're most likely noticing that, wow, there's lots of time. You know, not that you're bored or that you're still keeping busy, but you have way different relationship to time when you're not on as many hamster wheels at once. And, you know, we're all capable of doing this to ourselves, either through the idea of like the job where we work, or with our work that we are doing that we think is to help heal and bring balance to the world. I'm definitely no different with that. I've burned myself out a bunch of times in my life over the last 5 or 6 years being podcast host chance, thinking I need to do way more than is reasonable to ask myself. Well, you know, when I could actually do more with less, and paradoxically spend or take the time, make the time to do what makes my energy feel good, right, and balanced and clear, and watch how the world and my effect on it becomes much more efficient and effective with less effort. It's really like this management of your personal energy is where the Wu Wei comes in. If the only thing that you're really focused on having any control or influence over is keeping yourself in the clearest mindset and like the most vibrant physical health and most well-rested, non-stressed feeling that you can cultivate and generate, then your outer world work, you can do a lot without it ever feeling like a burnout or a burden or too much. But we have to like flip our perspective and also realize that I don't think that there's anywhere to escape to. Maybe there's other like versions of life. Maybe there's other cosmic eggs. Maybe you can hatch out of this one and return to a even larger octave of selfhood and expand that way. But probably at the end of the day, that's just that body, that larger God body that could come out of this configuration of lots of lives being the cells of the body of God. Well, then that God body above at the higher octave is also, in a fractal sense, probably just a cell in a larger thing. So I think it's like turtles all the way up and down. I don't know if there's really I think that if we escaped this world, so to speak, we're just going to find ourselves in the exact same situation on a different level of the octaves or the dimensional scale, because no matter where you go, the truth will always be there. Even if when someone commits suicide, I think they're very surprised to find out that nothing changes or gets better for them, because the problem was with them and they're still there, even though they killed their body. So I think that's the case too with the idea of escaping this dimension or getting out of this planet or whatever. That may be good for some of us to go explore a different realm or a different place, but I think we should be very cognizant of the fact of wherever we go, you're there. You're going to be there. So if you're not doing the work on yourself and making sure to stay clear, coherent, non-stressed, non-freaked out, not afraid, then you're going to take with you to any realm all of those qualities that you are currently possessing. I think that's the real great work, or the real trick, is to become further and further levels of radically responsible for your own energy. And there's really nothing else that we can be responsible for. Everything spirals out of that central point.
Yeah. One of the mantras as of late for myself is I am sovereign over time. I'm trying not to let
Hey, where'd you hear that?
Right? That line really stuck with me, Chance. And I'm still trying to get out of that hamster wheel mindset of I got to go, work. Because things have slowed down a lot here in Idaho. And yeah, I'm still working every day, but it's for us now. Doing the podcast, making us stuff in the kitchen, shoveling snow, planting Orgone devices, just stuff that's actually helping this realm and myself. It feels good.
For sure. Yeah, I totally get that. I'm glad you brought that first hermetic principle up, that all is mind, because I forgot about that. And something I fear that going into the light thing. And so I have one foot with you, Mitch, because I'm kind of like, I don't know everything that
it's
we've
good
been
to question
taught.
everything, no doubt.
Yeah, everything we've been taught has just been inverted so badly that it's really hard to tell what's the truth. But it is a bit more comforting hearing that, like, if we have like a soul agreement that we're going to follow each other and I want to be with her, then we will, so it really doesn't matter. Maybe we will come back and we'll be
but
born.
If you have the agreement that like, something could go wrong, well, then maybe, who knows, anything could happen. You want to be very careful with your beliefs. Yeah. The last thing I want to say too is that a lot of this idea comes from what I frequently referred to as pop culture Gnosticism, which is like that the world's a fallen place, that a evil demiurge created it to trap the divine spark and hold our spirits here. And the thing about that mentality that is not often brought up is that actually the naughty secret societies, the behind closed doors, esoteric orders, all of them, they believe that. That's their thing. So we're taking on the very mentality of the ones that want to rule in hell rather than, be serving in heaven, so to speak. That idea. I don't want to take on that perspective.
See, for me, I think, there's only one thing in the world that actually makes me fearful. And that is that when you die, I'm like, wherever it is I go, I want to keep with me always every amount of information, every amount of knowledge and wisdom, everything I've ever acquired, because we're taught here that we've lost It's always, we've lost this, we're relearning it. And I'm like, oh my God, please, for the love of God, if I have to come back here, please don't ever let me forget that. I want to keep that so that I have a chance in the next cycle if it does happen to be in this physical place. But also I think, for me, I feel like we are in a realm. I mean, there's a natural realm and there's an artificial realm trying to be overlaid over it. And that is the one I think that when I'm saying, a person could come back, that they have to be careful, they may come back to that overlay. And it's like getting out of it may not necessarily mean getting out of being human. It means getting out of the construct that's been formulated for you and determined to keep you there, to use you as a battery instead of you using your consciousness to its full potential. But I think, we are, in a way, it's like this is all a test that we are taught to, from me cradle to grave, my goal is to learn how to love in what I would call like a loveless world, to seek the truth in a dishonest world, to find peace in a just unjust, war-torn type of reality. And along the way, you make it a better reality.
That's
But
the best kind of story. You got to have
everything,
conflict for a good story.
but it's like everything being an inversion. To me, what I see is an artificial construct being created as a prison. And that prison then makes me question, what is the path? Are we just supposed to cycle back and do the best we can, learn what we can, or is there is the goal to get out? And there's a part in my soul that feels like I think the goal is to detach from the physical world in a way that's like, I'm saying goodbye to everything once I've learned what I need to learn and being okay with it. I mean, we're seeing people do this already. The ones who are okay, like people ask you, what's going to happen? Am I going to be okay? You guys know you're going to be okay. Everyone on this call knows they're going to be okay. And everyone watching this knows you're going to be okay because you're doing the steps to seek more knowledge, to question everything, to better yourself. This is about you and you alone, even though other people may, like soulmates, may be involved, but it's like everyone's responsible for themselves. So those people, it's like, for whatever reason, I think everybody is on this path to make the best choices because you have choices, free will, and those choices will then lead you to the next whatever that is better than before. No matter where you go, as long as you're making the right choices that are the best for you, the best for truth, the best for love, the best for God, the best for every pro-life, basically pro-life or anti-life, because that's really what I think are our two options now. Everything is either pro-life or anti-life.
That's why I call it chutes and ladders.
It
You're
is.
either climbing the ladder or you're going down the slide.
So that's why I think that whether or not it's the moon or whatever the connotation for the light is, whatever the analogy is, I'm saying, like, and this is what I'm getting at, is that it's not that going into the light is bad, but it's like the goal is to always make the choices that will only put you in like, I want to find God. That's my goal. I want to find my creator. I want to get back to what I want to know, the purpose of why was I created? Who created me? What is this? What is the purpose of all this? I feel like that's sort of the goal of everybody, really. And it can be in the simplistic things. Like, I mean, I play piano. I learned to play piano. That was a big part of my life. Artistically, what I'm doing now with the Orgonite, that's a huge part of my life, or artistically. And so it's like, these are things I build on to get where I want to go. But ultimately, I feel like getting where I want to go, I don't know that it means having this physical body and looking like a gawky nerd. I think it could mean being in a different realm. I think it could mean maybe being in the same realm. I mean, we've been genetically modified since God knows how long, that it's like, I know we're human, but how human are we? Are we the fullest potential of human? Not yet. I don't think so. But I think we're finally getting there. That's why something wants to destroy us, in my view, is that something is like, oh, they figured it out. They're on the right path. And so I guess I'm just saying, like, I don't think it's bad to be here. And I definitely don't think that the world is an ugly place. but there are forces that are meant to make hell on earth, and we have to navigate through that to find heaven on earth. And whether or not the end of the tunnel is another realm, another dimension, another body, I know I have no memory of experience of that, so I can't say. But I guess I just want to be clear. I don't hate being here, but
I know, buddy.
I wonder. I question a lot. And I'm sure a lot of people do.
I've asked myself all these questions too.
Yeah. And sometimes you practically give yourself a brain aneurysm thinking about it, because you're just like, I valued having a conversation the other day with someone that made me so uncomfortable. It was New Year's Eve. And I was just like, oh my God, I was freaking out, because I'm like, someone finally, like, we were willing to talk about it. And I told her I valued that conversation, even though it scared me shitless the other night. But it was just like, I still want to be able to have those conversations, because we really don't truly know anything. I mean, we're learning things, but like, we don't truly know what comes next and how it comes. We have our ideas that are all based on as much as we can consume in this body while we're here.
Yeah.
And that is all I have to say about that period.
I got notes.
I'm just thinking of like what you tell the teacher when you're like trying to make a sentence longer. So anyway.
That's so funny. Yeah, Mitch, I've had that thought too. I've learned so much so far and come so far. And then once I do move on, am I just going to forget it all? I have no memory of any past lives. The only connection I do feel to past lives is through him, because I know we've been together before, many times before. Other than that, it's interesting. And I don't know, maybe we do come back with some kind of knowledge if we level up in this realm. I would hope.
Yeah, I think heaven is here too right now. It could be here simultaneously, and
it's at hand.
And something that, I had a conversation with Cheney about this, and I think she's going to put it out, but one of the questions she asked me is, do you think we can make this heaven right now? Or do you think it is heaven and we're just creating it right now? And I said, yeah, it's possible, because it is. It really, I mean, with the work you're doing, Mitch, with the work Chance does, with the work all of us kind of do, we just put little bits out there to try and create that heaven that we see. And so in a way, it is here. It is right now. It's just because it doesn't look like the heaven we're sold, on movies and television, doesn't mean it isn't, because it is. There's so much beauty here.
Do any of you guys ever, because this subject comes up too a lot, like when you think about things like, and I'm going way over here. When you think about things like,
let's not go over there yet. I want to say some things.
All right.
I just want to respond to a couple of things from your last flow that I think are worth pointing out, because some of them are new thoughts for me. Okay, so first of all, what if being a battery isn't a bad thing? What if actually, in a fractal sense, because we live in a galvanic electric cell type of universe, this closed system, anode, cathode, sun and moon deal, then maybe being a capacitor, like a mini battery, is a good thing. Maybe that's how life is supposed to work. Because I think the more charge that we can hold in our vessel in integrity without leaking, without feeding vampires our light, without having Swiss cheese holes in our aura, well, that actually is what gives us a higher level of consciousness and ability to perceive more and more of the bandwidth spectrum of the above and the below simultaneously. So I think even when we look at movies like The Matrix, and they tell you a matrix is bad, which actually means womb. I think we're inside of a big cosmic egg womb. I think that it's wombs within wombs. So they tell you the mother is bad, basically. They tell you the place where you're growing and developing is, you got to escape from it. Give you this sort of, like I call it, pop culture Gnostic jive. They tell you that being a battery is wrong and bad. Well, it's true that you can be a battery for something that you don't want to be giving your energy to. But then at that point, you're not really a very good battery. because, or you're not very good capacitor. Capacitor is probably a better word, because it's about holding a charge. The more of your inner light you can hold in your vessel, the more conscious you'll be, the more of yourself you'll remember. And so when it comes to remembering between lives, what if the reason why we have this forgetfulness between incarnations is because we've totally lost track of the fact that we're supposed to be energetic capacitors, and that even out like at the point where our energy leaves the physical shell of the body, it's possible to stay in such coherence that, okay, because let me back up a little bit. Your memory is the electricity in your field. I know this for a fact from working in people's auras with tuning forks, that, you know, some experience that they are repressing from themselves is literally hanging out in their energy field off to the left 3 feet or something, or off to the right. So that is where your memory is at. It's not stored in some filing cabinet of cellular hard drive in your brain. It's actually the distributed energy through your whole field is where your memory comes from, or where your memory is held and generated. So I think that it's just us that forgot how to hold on to ourselves. You know, we forgot how to stay coherent, how to stay in charge, because of, parasites and vampires and being punctured from the outside. But you also, we had to agree to let that happen. And maybe that was also part of the cycle, that we wanted to forget ourselves a little bit and then go through the journey of remembering. Maybe that's for fun. Maybe that's for entertainment. I don't know. But I think maybe when we are asking the question of, can we find our creator? Maybe it's hard to find our creator because we weren't created. Maybe we've always existed. Maybe life force energy is self-existing, as in there isn't a beginning or an end. And part of the time loop that we're stuck on is because we have the belief of beginnings and endings for our self. And so we're looking for where we were created from, but we are the creation, in a sense. Like creation exists, it's self-evident, self-existing. Hope that's making sense. Like, what we could maybe be working on is our awareness practices and our health integrity to the level of that. If we even did go out of the body, we've already practiced that. We've practiced staying aware, staying coherent, staying in charge in the energy body too. And at that point, then, you can go anywhere, do anything. You've got the light within. You don't need to go into a light. You don't need anything. You're self-perpetuating, and your capacitor charge is staying strong and whole even outside of the organ of the body. And then at that point, maybe you choose to incarnate in another place, another space, or in this place again. And when you do, I think this is one of the secrets of old mystery schools, is that they were probably teaching how to stay coherent even after death, so that you can reincarnate with more of yourself intact, more memories intact. And maybe that's the game and the goal, because I agree that it is kind of a, not a fun proposition to think I could die and lose everything about who I am. I mean, how are you going to go take your loved ones with you if they don't exist in your mind anymore, if all is mind? And in that sense, saving everyone, saving the world, you could look at it like saving the files on a hard drive, metaphorically. Like when the USB stick is unplugged, all the stuff was copied to it. Whenever your spiritual body leaves the physical vessel, all of yourself is in that spiritual light body, instead of being scattered, lost, diminished through a lack of understanding, a lack of knowledge of how to hold yourself in integrity and in coherence. Something like that. I think that that's the journey that maybe I want to look for, is how to stay in charge even outside of my body. Because I've had, and this always, it still works with the body. So it's like part of it is not rejecting the body itself or looking like it's something to escape from, but working with the body as the training wheels or the template to have that energetic coherence on a different octave of the fractal. So the example I give a lot would be that the first time I ever had a full-fledged out-of-body experience where I popped out of my body, I was floating around the ceiling, I could look down and see my physical body through like spiritual eyes, so to speak, was during a colon cleanse I was doing on the last day of it. And So the clarity that I was experiencing was very much connected to the fact that my body was lighter, clearer, and had less obstruction and toxicity in it. So I think that's part of the path, is cleaning up your organs, because those are filtration systems for your consciousness or for your light, for your energy. And it's like, if you haven't cleaned it, then whatever it caught is still there. Going to be focusing a lot more on doing cleanses and getting my organs straightened out, and see if that helps me naturally attain the ability to experience that out of body perception again. Because when I have had it, it only lasts for so long. Think of it like meditating. How long can you go before you get carried away in random monkey mind chatter? How long can you sit and watch your mind and watch it without it taking charge away from you, in a sense? Like, how long can you stay present, aware, conscious in your own mind, and not get lost to the distractions of the perturbations and vibrations of the outer world that ripple in and cause this, monkey mind chatter? I believe that we can get so clear that it's a never ending, nonstop flow state of perpetual complete awareness of ourself and our inner mind through our own light, but probably going to require a lot of purification and cleaning up of the body temple, so that our spirit body will reflect and match that template of a healthy, clean, and clear physical body. And at which point, maybe then that's part of the keys to, when we leave here, we leave with full awareness of ourself and all of our memories, and we save the world and we save everyone we love, in the sense that they never get lost out of our mind, because our mind is the only thing that existed in the first place. Your memory is your power. Your memory is the charge of the capacitor. That is the charge that the capacitor is holding, is memory or light or life force and energy. That's all your consciousness. And it's also your love. It's what you love or who you love. So that's kind of my thoughts on it, that cleaning the body is probably part of attaining those abilities to, traverse the astral or the psychic realm without losing ourselves in the collective mind, the hive mind, the group mind, which is what we're battling in the physical world too. We're battling that collectivism, trying to retain and remain individual while being battered by the external tides of the collective. I think the same thing goes for the psychic space, but if you pop off into the psychic realm after your body dies and you haven't even trained these abilities at all or worked on it at all, probably just gonna sort of dissolve into that goop, and who you were and all those memories won't cease to exist, because energy is never created or destroyed, as they say. But then you have to go through the process in a future incarnation of trying to find the pieces and get them back and bring them into your capacitor again and remember who you are again.
I think something might be attempting, like I feel sometimes like we're all just trying to put reality back together, and there are forces that are trying to break it back apart. And so the idea, for example, of, if
I don't disagree. It's both things are happening at once.
I think like the idea of, say, like saving everyone, it's not like I'm not saving my parents, and my individual brothers and taking them with me. What I think is you're providing the tools that are necessary for that part of consciousness to remain repaired, to flourish on its own, and to do its part, whatever, because everyone's responsible for their own, everyone's responsible for self. But then of course it's like we're all one ocean of self together. So I wonder sometimes if, our goal is to put things back together that may have been separated, which I would call a separation like that basically anti-truth, because the truth of the matter would be putting it all together as it's supposed to be in nature. But then I also wonder too, I'm sure you guys, like, regardless of what you believe, what you feel in your heart to be true, I would imagine a lot of people like myself, you just spend time wondering, just lots of what ifs, even as crazy as we're, it's like, whether you're doing a mushroom journey, or I'm not saying I do, but I'm just, whatever reasons, you're contemplating things. You're like, wouldn't that be interesting? And, I wonder sometimes if we, with the multiple realities, if whatever you're learning, whatever you move on to do, what if humans, we know we're important, we know that things feed on us for our energy. What if humanity's so special, in fact, that we're powering everything? What if we are, and we're like, oh, we're all gods, or we're part of God consciousness? What if we're powering everything? And so it's a matter of, what if we're this playing field that everything in existence is trying to not necessarily manipulate, or even influence, but to be a part of? Like, let's say there are forces that are benevolent that come here. Maybe they're us, and they inhabit these bodies that are essentially batteries, but that they're so much more than that. And it's a matter of, because there's no good and evil as much as there is like just contrast. I don't like to use Esther Hicks stuff, but like it's like, the enemy of your enemy is not necessarily your friend. There could be a million enemies, but there could be a million different friends. So it's like everything it's just this constant battlefield, and there's not really just one side to choose. So what if I guess what I was trying to get at is, when I think about things like unicorns or dragons or these things, spiritualistic creatures, any type of mythological creatures that have disappeared, it's like, where are they? Why were they created? What happened to them? And I sometimes think we may go the way of that. We may disappear. We may be willed out of this reality by all those who want to wear a mask and subject themselves to, for lack of a better word, Satan. But like, we all move on to a better world. We create that better world. We're constantly doing it. What if we're still in our physical bodies, but we have a less dense reality? We have more of our gifts. We have more of our spiritual enhancements. We can use things like these types of things, except now we use this a lot less, and we just use our mind. And so it's like there's you can overlay like a million different realities. And this kind of goes back, Chance, to what you're saying about making things heaven on earth, or it's like it's when I say, again, like getting out, it's like getting out might be shifting, getting out might be, it's just, I don't know, I guess I don't know what I'm getting at. Just that what if we are, we know we're important, but what if we are so much more important than we've even still fathomed? Even when we sit on podcasts like this and we talk like, oh, we all know we're important, but then it's like, what if it hit us how important it truly was, and it was too much for our physical mind in this current state today to handle, because it was seriously that intense, and you snap. It's like, that's the kind of level I wonder sometimes. I'm like, why is everything fighting over us? Why does it seem like everything is fighting over us? Why do I feel like I'm being pushed and pulled, and all these decisions, and where to go, who to help, what to do, what's next, what's before? And so, it's, yeah, I guess it's just, I think of things like that all the time, because otherwise I'd be bored. But I assume I'm not the only one that thinks about those things, whether I agree with them or not. I'm not even saying I agree with them. I'm just saying, like, people gravitate out of somebody else's life. I'm sure we all have friends who've disappeared, and one day you're like, where did they go? And it's like, different timeline, man. They're gone. If they resonated with something different, the same way I can put a piece of orgonite in front of somebody and they don't physically see it because it's on a different reality to them, and they can't grasp that. Or why you look at a chemtrail, I know that's very simplistic, but if you look at a chemtrail and someone else is like, what in the hell are you looking at? And it's like, you're on a different timeline. We see different things, we experience different things. So that may be the moving on, the shifting, the recycling, that is like basically all the decisions we make, hopefully for the better, that let us get closer and closer and closer to what I would call God, or God consciousness. Or when I said I want to find my creator, that's my idea of getting there. That it's like just becoming a better version of yourself every single time, forever and ever and ever. Yeah.
For sure. We something you said that you're looking for your creator. That's something I feel like I've always looked for in my life. And like I mentioned earlier, I was born Mormon. We went to the Mormon church for, I think, till I was like 10 maybe, or 11. Then I stopped going. But my parents always encouraged me to search for truth in my own way. So I studied Buddhism for 2 years. I did lots of different religious practices and different churches and different faiths just to try and find God. And the one thing I realized, and something that kind of clicks more when I watch Chance on InnerVerse or other people like us, is God. We're looking for God everywhere. God's here. It's inside you right now. God is part of you. You are part of God. There's no separation between the two of you. So that's why it's kind of like we're always searching for this, but the answers are here. Everything we seek is within too. So yeah.
I've met a lot of people doing what I do who actually, sorry.
By searching for it, you have the belief of being separate from it, kind of like by thinking that you have a beginning, then you will have the fear that you have an end. But I believe the question of like, who created God? That doesn't work. So if God is in everything, then it's the essence of life and existence itself. And it is the only reality, which also means that if you are that, if that's in you or you're in it, then you also have no beginning, no real origin. You are the original. You are the origin. The origin doesn't have, there's no like, it's kind of like the idea of actually the birth lie, that we have a birth date that creates our corporate fictional personhood, that there's this artificial cut in creating a timeline. When you actually try to figure out when you would have been conceived, what was the moment that the zygote happened, the egg was fertilized, nobody knows that. That's unknowable. There is no point where you can be like, this is when it happened. That's like nature did that. God did that. You have, that's your divine origin, as opposed to your, mundane origin in the corporate system on the piece of paper that says it happened at this exact time on this date. But that's fake because you existed before that. Anyway, this is like, we're getting deep. Mitch, I'm so glad that we're doing this.
I mean, having grown up, I wasn't Mormon, but I grew up, went to Catholic school, and the question that was always asked was, who created God? And it's like, and there are times I remember sitting in church Sundays thinking to myself, the idea of eternity in heaven sounded like a nightmare, because you're terrified at the idea of, what am I going to do? Sit here and kneel and pray and bow down to you forever and ever and ever and ever. And I'm like, this is too much for a kid to think about. And I do see God in everything. People come into my life all the time doing what I do. There's so many people who come into my life that I feel like they're sent here for whatever reason. They say certain things, do certain things. They influence me or they help me out with something. It's happening all the time. And then sometimes they stick around, sometimes they disappear. In that same way, I think a lot of us may do that with the others in our lives. We stick around sometimes and sometimes we don't. And what I was saying a few minutes ago about the playground and how everything's tapping into this playground where we are, because we're just that darn important. I wonder, maybe like Chance, you were saying early on, some people, it's like we keep going with this in this, I don't want to say meat. It's not fair to say meat suit. Maybe right now it's a meat suit, but it's like we can keep doing this and we can keep learning and building and whatever. Some people may actually some people may have a meat suit and then they're gone because they came here to do whatever they were supposed to. Maybe we power them. Maybe the energy of what, people call them angels and things like that. Those different types of entities, if those exist, things that come into this realm, because again, they're like, hey, we've got to help the humans. We need to guide them because they're the creators, they're the batteries, they're the power, they're the force of the universe. They keep everything, they keep the lights on, basically. So it's like, there's just endless possibilities to any rhyme or reason of any physical body that's in this realm, and what came before, what's going on now, and what comes after. I think there's a reason we all gravitated towards each other. Chance, there's a reason Carol put us in touch with each other. And it's like, oh, maybe we've met before. Maybe we did this cycle before. Maybe we worked together before. Maybe we were related, So
You feel like a bro to me, buddy.
thanks.
You're one of my
Yeah.
favorite human beings on the earth.
Oh,
Actually,
well,
everybody in this chat.
I can say the
you're
same
like some of the coolest people ever.
I can say the same for all of you. Really, there are so many people who talk to me because of all three of you that I couldn't begin to explain what's come my way because of it. But yeah. Anyway, I just I don't want to belittle anything. I don't want to ever belittle the human experience. I love my life and I love who I am, which is why the idea of like a time machine, I would never ever want to use it because I would never risk changing anything, even the bullshit I've had to go through, or the things I would think I'd regret. I don't really regret them, and I think most people would agree with that. They never would voluntarily change anything because they are who they are now. So yeah, I want to be clear that I don't belittle that, but I'm always going to wonder what comes after this. How do you prepare yourself? Is there a way to prepare yourself? Is it worth preparing yourself? Can you do it? It's like maybe not. And every cycle of the new year, it brings out these types of ideas. Things like the pandemic bring out these ideas. Things like the New World Order bring out these ideas. Meeting new people, brings out these ideas, because then you're like, oh, I never heard that perspective before. So yeah, this is the best word I've got for it, honestly. So
That's perfect.
yeah. What is it? I'm here to. What is it? I'm here to kick ass
and chew bubblegum.
And I'm all out of bubblegum. Worst acting ever. One of the best movies ever. So
for sure, 100% agree. That fight scene though was a great fight scene.
Longest
so
fight
symbolic.
Ever. Yeah.
Very symbolic.
They Live is a documentary, people, if you haven't seen it yet.
I don't mean to I don't want everyone to always think the only thing that's worth talking about is the weather, but if anyone wants to, I have a couple questions. I'd love to get some opinions from people, and anybody watching this, or you three, because especially now that you all have power wands. So when you're ready to segue, you let me know. Or if you're segueing. I know I don't want to run out your clock. So
no, we don't have a clock.
We can segue if you want.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
If somebody will make me dinner, I'll stay longer. But I'm getting hungry.
I'll send you some dinner in the mail.
Okay, thanks.
Well, I sent all you guys the power wands. There's quite a few people now doing ether damming. I think I just today sent out like the 15th one. I'm trying to build an army, if anybody doesn't know that, and I mean in a positive way. But I've heard it's raining quite heavily in like Northern California, Pacific Northwest.
Snow day.
I heard. Carol mentioned with you guys in Idaho, and my friend up in Northern Idaho, I think she said it's like 8 feet. My friend in Tahoe, I gave her a power wand too. They had between 8 and 17 feet over the holiday season of snow. And we had 6 days of rain here. Then everything else kind of moved up towards Boulder. But what I wanted to share was just something I thought was interesting. And for anyone watching this, if you're anywhere around Colorado, I feel like Colorado's being heavily targeted right now. For one thing, I do think of Denver as the New World Order headquarters with that godforsaken airport in the ground. But also, if you go drive by Lucifer, the horse that they talk about. But there were a couple friends, and Chance, obviously, you know Carol, and her companions and family. They were going to go do some heavy gifting, and so she and I were scheming behind the scenes. I sent her a semi truck of Orgonite that was going to be going to Colorado, and they were going to be gifting Boulder specifically. And it was just really interesting. This was about a month ago. I sent everything. We were getting everything together because I tried sending stuff for Thanksgiving when they went, and it got deflected. It went to the wrong state and then got lost. And so this time around, I thought, let's plan ahead. I sent some stuff. And instead of going from here to Phoenix to Spokane to Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, where it was supposed to go 3 days, it went to some random town in Arizona, and then it went to Memphis, Tennessee, Seattle, Memphis, Seattle, Memphis, Seattle, Spokane, Seattle, Memphis, Seattle, Spokane. Then she intercepted it. This took a month, by the way. We missed our deadline, couldn't get the Orgonite there in time for her to take her trip. But and then the post office, after she paid money to like have them hold it, they sent it back to me. So I ended up sending stuff to her family in Colorado who live in that area as a last minute thing. I sent every last thing I had in my home, and it says it was delivered and it was stolen. So there were different efforts that were being done to try and get as much. I mean, this, I'm telling you, it was a semi truck of Orgonite. And her counterparts, they had like a week and a half. They were going to be just driving around Colorado and gifting. And I just saw interesting enough about what happened. Everyone knows what happened with some fires. And the news said, if only it would have snowed one day earlier, because the snow put out the fire, and it put out the fire a day too late. And I felt like it was the biggest FU from the parasites that I've had thrown at me for quite a while. So anyway, it was just an interesting story because it was similar to trying to gift the Georgia Guidestones when everything I shipped to somebody in that area for some random reason went directly from Sedona to Anchorage, Alaska instead of Georgia. So it's like, I don't know what I'm getting at other than to just say there's a lot of weird forces going on right now and a lot of agenda. And, anyone who doesn't know yet about the AI, because the whole system of the USPS is artificial intelligence. They even admitted that when we finally tracked down some of this stuff. So it's like, I don't know. I guess I just wear it with a badge of honor, like all this effort we were trying to do, because the snow, the rain, all that stuff was moving in from like Arizona and New Mexico, and obviously it hit you guys in Idaho. It hit my friends in Salt Lake have mentioned just ridiculous amounts of snow, and it just finally creeped in to Colorado, and it's almost like there's just been this barrier. So if you live in Colorado and you're not busting towers, I would say we could definitely use your help. And I can't afford to just start handing out power wands to everybody, but if there's people who want to participate and do the homework, like I've been assigning to the three of you, then
I've been doing it, even if it takes me till like the middle of the night.
Yeah,
even if it's the last thing I do before I go to sleep. I've been doing.
I got
homework.
your message.
Same here.
Yeah. So I appreciate that very much. I think it shows in the amount of precipitation that's hitting. So other people, if they want to participate, I'll have a conversation with them if you want to contact me. And if it feels right to me and you're willing to participate, then I'll try and hook you up with one, because like I said, I want to build a little army. I think we can. I don't know what's going on with the 5G stuff. I heard you told me the other day that the FAA, that whole thing canceling the unleashing or whatever, makes me wonder if they just needed to pick a new occult day or something, because I think January 5th, wasn't that the 666th day since
That's
COVID
today
started?
There's a lot of Jews.
Today the 5th?
Today's the 6th.
Oh, okay.
It's the Tower Day, 1/6/16. It's a year since the super scary Capitol insurrection fake thing.
Yeah, indictments are coming, you guys. Also,
that election
important.
fraud, they're going to solve that, and then the country will be fixed, and just trust the plan. And don't worry.
I'm down here in Arizona. I am just swimming in all of this election. What is it? What's the word where they fix it? Yeah, no, nothing's happening here. Theater.
Yes. Yes, I believe that's the accurate word.
Yeah, well, I don't even live far from it, and I didn't even know about it till 6 months ago. I'm like, what, you guys are still voting? What's going on here? So anyway, that's my 2 cents. Just lots of weather stuff and whatever. But we'll talk more too about the power wands and whatnot. So if anyone's watching this and is like, what the hell are you talking about? Basically, a power wand is, you can use different frequencies into it. You can blast different frequencies into it. Exactly. And it's like an antenna, and it will enhance your own energy as you enhance its energy. And, Legs, you tell me, like, you did it the first day, that message you sent me, what was that like?
Man, that was insane. So the first day I did it as a meditation. I cleared my space of all negativity, brought in the good, did some firework, some fire breathing, and then I hit the play button on the environment clearing MP3 you sent me. And I did it for, I think, about 45 minutes just to go, just breathing. And I kept saying, real clouds, real skies, no artificial cloud. I don't know what I was saying. I was saying some kind of mantra at the time that just came to me. But the sky above our house like totally just cleared up, and they were like hitting us with chemtrails all day. And so once I started doing that, broke up the chemtrails above our house. Welcome, pup. And then I noticed like this dark cloud just start to form and move in, like it was just going to dump rain on us. And at the same time I was doing this, my spirit animal showed up. So I was just like, okay, I'm doing something right. It was just amazing. And the energy I felt doing it too. It was so real. But yeah, the clouds cleared, the fake clouds, whatever was going on above our house completely cleared. Real clouds started to form and moved in. And then I did it a couple days ago, and that's when we got that crazy amount of snow. We got hit hard. Like it was crazy wind. It just dumped ass all over us.
It's crazy when you I mean, you don't think that you would look at it, it's like a copper pipe, right? You would think, how powerful could this be? Put your hand in front of it.
Yeah.
Put your hand in front of it.
I haven't tried that, but I've been using it like an eraser and erasing chemtrail clouds out of the sky.
No, you put your hand in front of it. You feel something.
You feel the vibration coming out
for
of it.
Sure.
Yeah, it's very apparent that something is happening, because right after she did her work with it, just things change right away, and it's fucking nuts, Mitch. I don't know how to describe it.
You guys, I'd been doing this for about 2 years, and just documenting what I can about my own experience with it. And at first it was building up rain clouds, or if it was sprinkling, you could make it just downpour by doing these rotations. And I could never talk about it because, it's already hard enough getting people just to make some tower busters, or to go out and actually bust the towers, because it works in tandem. I mean, you still have to go bust the actual towers, otherwise they're just going to keep feeding the frequency fence. And so it's like, this is like the next level of that. And I had said for the last 2 years, and once I found out about this and was diving into it, I told my partner, I'm like, I'm gonna build my own little group, and we're gonna be all over the country, and we're gonna do these things. We're gonna synchronize it. We're gonna, document everything, because there's a lot of people make power wands. They're not anything that's, it's not a new concept. I don't know if Don Croft was the first one to ever make one, but there are people who sell them. However, I've never heard anybody before stumbling upon, I've said Trevor James Constable, I've dropped his name a dozen times, but the concept of ether damming, and then it was a conversation I had with somebody who was using a power wand on, I'm probably not supposed to say this, but on an airplane, was using a power wand, and noticed a reduction in the flight time by an hour and a half that vanished. And it was this really weird, and now I know, it was just like, the fuck are you talking about? So it just started opening up all these questions of, because I have a theory. I mean, people have heard about the jet fuel hoax and whatever, and I think planes vibrate a certain way. I think maybe they lift with thrust and wind and whatever, wind resistance, but I think once they're airborne, I think there's a reason an engine can go out and a plane can still fly without constantly just flying in a circle from one engine. I think they fly more like bumblebees. That's my personal view, and I'm sticking to it. But when frequency's involved and you're using a multi-dimensional energetic tool, God knows what's going to happen. So anyway, yeah, it's like these things you're talking about, Chance, you talked about, you're like, I feel like I'm just like erasing the sky, or erasing the shit from the sky. It's a lot like that. And there's times I've done this where they hit back very, very hard, and I never had any.
Chemtrail planes show up in response.
Yeah,
sometimes.
They do.
You're messing up their progress. They're going to try to mess up yours. it's an energy battle. But I know, and I knew this before I started handing these out, that, you know, as more and more people can do this, and like, you know, I'll give everybody the cheat sheets and the tools and my suggestions based on what I've done the last couple of years. And there will be more conversations I know that we'll all have specifically about it. I want to get a mass, not a mass meditation, but a mass, you know what I mean? A group doing it simultaneously, based on certain weather patterns and things like that. Because yeah, you can just annihilate these stalled energy fields, break through whatever. If, you know, I have this theory that when they want to conjure up tornadoes in Tornado Alley, everyone can sort of just, you know, point like a point and shoot camera, and voila, everything's unclogged. And no, there will be no tornadoes today. For whatever reason, this energy that they try to stop, we keep that flowing. We just keep it constantly flowing, building up those clouds, building the moisture, healing the desert, in my case, your case too, guys. So yeah, anyway, it's the craziest thing. And it's just something you have to do. And I'm glad you've all had a positive experience so far. Because yeah, anything I was telling you on the phone, I'm like, you have to see it to believe it. So
Yeah, I'm a huge believer. But yeah, they hit hard that day after I first did it. They really hit hard with the chemtrails, and I was just like, oh, I got so mad. I'm like, where's that damn wand? I got to do it. I got to hit them back. You know, it's just
That
like
was the biggest problem
battle.
for me, is like, once I had it, I'm like, yeah, is it now my responsibility to fight this every day?
Right.
We need more soldiers.
like I said, if anybody's watching, I mean, I'm not expecting people to do a term paper, but there will be a little bit of homework. I mean, that's the idea. And no, I wouldn't expect anybody. I wouldn't expect you or anybody to be doing it every day. I mean, like, let's be realistic. But I think as more people are there to do it, you know, Legs, I noticed that when you were doing it the first day, I didn't have time to do it that day. And that was when we got our first torrential downpour for that week. And I was just kind of like, it was interesting that you were doing it along with my friend he's in Orange County, and another friend in Coeur d'Alene. And I thought, it extends that far. I've gone to Coeur d'Alene and done it, and I know that it had an impact on rain all the way down here in Arizona. And so it's, you know, again, it's multi-dimensional energy. We're all on ley lines and grid points and portals and God knows what else. And plus we're all tapped into something that's collective. So yeah, hopefully my goal is there'll be like 50 people in every state, and then the US won't have to worry about any form of you know, rain suppression, or diverting it to where it doesn't need to go and turning it off and putting it back to where it's supposed to be. That's my intention. So crazy stuff.
It's magic. I love it.
Yeah.
This has been great conversation. We've almost gone 2 hours, and I know, Chance, you're getting hungry.
Yeah, 2 hours was what I was allotting to this, so I'll probably be happy to bounce soon. But I had a question. Would you guys mind sending me this to mirror on my feeds? Do you care?
Of course.
For sure.
Because we had a lot of fun. We got deep. I'd love to share with more people.
Yeah, we'll send it to you. Mitch, would you like a copy too? We can totally.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Chance, by the way, Chance, thank you for, you know, this is actually the first time anytime I've ever been on something, you know, you're interviewing me when it's the two of us. And so this is the first time ever really having to, whether we agree or disagree on something, it was a good conversation to know that, oh, you know, here's somebody who's going to say things that I may not agree with, and just the opportunity to understand exactly where you're coming from, and kind of, and bridge that with, fuck you too. Yeah. I mean, because so many there, I mean, I know people that it's an art form that they, you know, I watch people, I mean, I don't think we were even arguing, but people who argue but in agreement. And ours, it's just, this is a nice
exploring. It was really good.
Yeah,
I feel the same way, man. That it was nice to have a more open conversation about whatever, instead of being like on topic, on target, on a certain objective.
Yeah, it was less you saying, Mitch, how's your day, and then I tell you, and you're like, that's awesome, man. And it was more like, oh, if I'm gonna say something, I should defend it a little bit if I have to, you know, justify why I think what I think, not just saying random thoughts. So that's
Yeah,
a
these are
thing
good
I think we
conversations.
could
They
all.
help all of us be able to tell
Yeah.
what it is we really think more.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you.
Yeah, right back
you
at you.
guys.
Thank
I
you
love
both.
I
you,
hope
man.
you have the best dinner of your life tonight.
Oh my gosh, yes.
You deserve it.
Yeah, I'm using my new cast iron skillet. Oh man,
Hey.
I'm like so
Hey.
hooked on
Nice.
cast iron now that I got one. It's the best.
Cast iron's the shit. I love
the
cast
shit.
iron. Or like Dutch ovens. Ooh.
I don't have one of those yet.
Those are the best, especially for making bread.
Oh,
Absolutely. I was just going to say that the bread and the cast iron pizza pan, if you want to just heat that thing up as hot as you can get, and you'll get like an actual, what's the type of pizza? Nepalese? Whatever. Nepal.
Is this Nepali?
Where like bubbles at the top. I mean, whatever, standard pizza, whatever. Good
Oh, like
pizza.
Napoleon pizza.
Where the crust bubbles like it's supposed to. It's because you can't throw it in a hot oven, but you can put it on a hot pan, and it will start the process of bubbling up the crust the way it's supposed to. So
I'm gonna throw this
great.
thing on the skillet.
Don't throw Gimli on the
He's
skillet.
meaty.
Let me pick up my roast real quick. Before we
Please, I'd like to see her.
Yeah.
Is she
Yeah, this
almost fattened up enough? Hey, shout out to Alicia for tipping these two
Yeah.
lovely people. More
Alicia,
tips
thank
would be
you so
great.
much.
They deserve it. These are really great folks.
Thank you so much for the tip. Really much.
Our dogs would be such good pals.
I think so.
They would be really good friends.
She got woken up out of her sleep,
She
so
was
she's
sleeping,
all.
and she's
Yeah,
all
he was. This
discombobulated.
guy, I pulled him out of the hall closet. He was burrowed underneath the blankets in the hall closet, hiding
That's
from
cute.
the cold.
Well,
And then down at the bottom of the screen is Heartless Mitch without his dog. Right? I don't have any pets, but
That's that would be a
Someday.
beautiful life. I would love to have no pets. no kidding. The freedom, the freedom. Can
it
only
is a big
imagine.
responsibility. And Mitch, with the work you do, it would be hard to take care of a little soul and
yeah.
try and get out.
I'm the uncle that when they then come over to hang out or get babysat, then they don't want to go home, and then the moms ask why do they like you more than me? And I don't know. Maybe it's the Orgonite. So
You're cool.
I'm just sitting here. You will love me more than your mother.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Anyway.
All right, guys. Well, this has been amazing. Much appreciated to both of you for jumping on.
Absolutely.
Any last words before we take off?
Can I come back
if any,
soon?
yeah, yes, Chance, you can. Can I answer that? Can I answer that for him? If I was just gonna say too, if anybody, I'm not trying to plug, but if anybody cares, I'm gonna be on Higher Side Chats with Greg Carlwood next week.
What? Right on.
And if you're watching, I don't know. I know he's not watching. I know the guy's not watching, but Mike from Alpha Vedic, if you're watching this, thank you so much for saying my name on that. He was on an episode last week, and I'm just listening for shits and giggles, and I'm just like, oh shit, they're talking about me. And then Greg sent me an email, so I was just like, right on. So
shout out Mike Winter.
But really,
awesome.
who I would thank.
He came on Vibrant last night too. He called in.
Oh, I didn't have a chance to watch, but we'll watch that tonight. So yeah, but Chance, really it's thank you because this all pretty much started. I think all of this chain reaction started with you back this last year. So
well, we can bump it one further back and say thanks, Carol, for putting me and you in touch.
Right on.
But I love that. When I started InnerVerse, it was my deep, sincere wish that I would have a platform where I could have somebody on and it could change their life in a positive way in terms of their giving them exposure. So the fact that has happened with such a fine specimen as you, that is totally unique in the work you're doing in the world. I love watching that because it's totally influencing the whole community of people interested in solutions that not just conspiratainment, but solutions oriented. We're witnessing it all the time that this Orgonite technology has got huge power and potential.
Well, I appreciate I appreciate that. Thank you, Chance, and to both of you. And also, people have been telling me for the last month Legs Buffalo, that they were just like, oh my God, those two are so likable. And
Yes, they are.
Mr. Buffalo Guy Smiley, they're like, man, they just look like so happy and they're just so lively. So I've had a lot of really positive feedback about all of the things you guys have all done for me. But in the last month, there's been a number. Yeah, so there's a lot of people that like you. I know you know that already, but I'm just putting that out there. So.
Oh boy, thank you.
Man, get ready with Higher Side Chats. That's going to be massive, dude.
Heck yeah, that is.
I'm so excited.
That is awesome, Mitch. Well deserved.
Well, that's all right. I got homework to do. Now you got me all worried. All right.
It's just he's got a big audience.
No,
he's a great host.
I know. I'm humbled and looking forward to it. So it's whatever. New year, crazy times,
does his
fun
too,
times.
So he's probably going to watch InnerVerse. It's a 1
I
day
bet
separation from Greg Carlwood.
I bet he did already. Yeah. So, all right, folks. Well, thank you very much again, and everyone, take care.
All right.
Sure.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
We'll talk soon. Everyone, thanks for joining us today, and peace.
Peace.
Arigato.
Thank you for listening to the False Reality Check podcast. There's many ways to support us, but please subscribe to us on Rockfin.
Yes, Rockfin is only $9.99 per month or $99 a year, and you get our premium content, our live streams, and other great content from the free thinking community, MMA, comedy, so much good stuff on there.
And you can throw us a couple of dollars for tip if you'd like.
Yes, please. We would love that.
You can also find us and all of our content on falserealitycheck.com. You can find our podcasts at anywhere podcasts are found: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Stitcher, Podcast Addict, or again, go to our website, falserealitycheck.com, for our RSS feed.
Yes, we're also on Twitter and Instagram at FRC Pod.
And we're at Gab and Float at False Reality Check. But don't feel like you gotta reach out to us there. You can also reach out to us through email at frcpodcast@protonmail.com. We tried our best to answer and read all of our emails from fans, and we love you guys for reaching out to us.
Yes, thank you, listeners, and keep listening.
Definitely. Check us also out. You can reach out to us on Telegram. We're also on Telegram at False Reality Check.
Yes, I think that's it.
Alrighty.
Until next time.
Peace.